how did you break down the ego enough to allow yourself kind of all of these opportunities?
It wasn't overnight. I still work on it. There's times here where internally me and my friends joke about it, but I'm usually very humble. No one likes an arrogant asshole.
I lost over $324,000 trying to start an Amazon business. I nearly lost everything, my marriage, my finances, everything. But I came back. And how did I do that is a question that I often get. And that got me wondering, how did I do that? How does anyone do that? How do we come back? And how do we develop resiliency? Because that's what it takes to succeed, is to be resilient. And I got to wondering, is it a trait or can it be a skill that we can teach? Can we find a framework of resiliency so that we can all become resilient? Welcome to the Resiliency Project podcast. And today's guest, Dylan Smith, an amazing, amazing man. I cannot wait to jump into this right away. First question, Dylan, welcome to the Resiliency Project podcast. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Listen, we dive right in. Tell me, Dylan, what was your biggest failure?
I want to say probably my biggest failure was probably not absorb. So not getting a mentor soon enough, I would say.
Okay. Tell me about that.
So I've learned that so I didn't go to college and I learned the power of a mentor. And as a young man with too much testosterone, you're like, I got this. I know it. I'm this guy. I can do it. And I think that a lot of young men need to learn how to ask for help. And I knew that I was like, oh, I could do all this stuff, but my life started to change in the ways that I wanted it to. The minute I got a mentor, the minute I started asking for help, the minute I became vulnerable, the minute I dropped the ego and the pride and I was transparent, like, this is where I am. This is where I want to be. Here's my disconnect. Please teach me what you know. And the biggest question that I've ever asked anyone that changed my life was, how can I help you? How can I promote you? How can I support you? And the minute I started doing that without pride, without ego, and just genuinely wanting to help people and pour into them, even though if I didn't have anything to pour in, I was like just pouring in to get value of learning something in return. That's all. And then always having the ability to make friends in the process, like we are here today, becoming friends. So it's like, I think that my biggest failure, one would say dyslexia, but dyslexia became a blessing. I think my biggest failure was not being open-minded enough to drop the pride to ask for help.
Well, so before you dropped the pride, what kinds of things would happen to you?
I got this, and life was a lot harder because I was like, I can do these events by myself. I can do these podcasts by myself. I can do these events by myself. I can make this Instagram by myself. I can help these people by myself. And I'm learning that what was happening is I was hitting all these walls because the power of a mentor is they lower the walls and show you the path that will get you to where you want to go. But if you don't have a mentor who has the results you want, then you're going to keep walking into a brick wall and you're going to get a concussion if you keep banging your head off the wall. So I think that before it was just very stubborn of I want to do it myself so I can tell people I did it myself. And then the more I mature and grow up, I'm like realizing that no one does it by themselves. And asking for help is actually a very powerful thing to do.
Well, so let me ask you then, what was that moment that crystallized for you where you just kind of had enough? You said, I have to ask for help, right? What broke down that stubbornness to get you there?
I was working at a tech firm and making selfie videos every morning before I went into work and posting them. And I got to a point where I was like doing Zoom interviews and doing selfie videos. And I knew that I wanted more and I knew I had a vision of something like this one day, but it was like, how am I going to get there? Right? Like I can't show Nick a selfie video and a Zoom interview in a wrinkled polo that he'd be like, no, you can't be on my show. So it's like, I think what it was is I was so done going insane because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And I knew that in my heart that if I didn't change anything, nothing would change. So I was like, fine. Let me find a studio in Stanford at 20 years old that will at least give me a set, which might make people take me seriously. And I'd convinced this producer to take me seriously with nothing at all. Just a couple selfie videos and Zoom interviews. And that's when things started to open for me. And I didn't realize, like, you take a dive into a risk and you're like, well, I think that my outcome is going to be, I'm going to have a podcast, I'm going to have guests, I'm going to have a platform, and then I'm going to go on other podcasts. I didn't realize that it was going to bring me down going to speaker school, becoming a speaker, speaking at a buddy's company, and learning that, oh, wow, I should be a speaker. Like that studio led me to a room where I met this guy named Gio, who then asked me to speak at his company party. After telling him my story, spoke at his company party, and then everybody's like, oh, you speak? Where can we come see you speak? Are there videos of this? And then I'm having a light bulb moment like, oh, that's an industry? I can do that? And you guys think I have a story to tell? And then I was like, okay, well, I was very insecure at the time that I didn't go to college because all my friends are in college, and I'm like, I was left behind. So I knew that I was a little insecure. So I was like, I wanted to prove people wrong that I wasn't left behind and I didn't need college. So I was like, I'm going to do speaker school. I'm going to spend the money I don't have, and I'm going to take off from work, and I'm going to treat it like Harvard. I walked into that room and I was like, this is my Harvard. This is my Yale. I'm going to be the rock star that comes out of this class. In my head, of course, I'm like, okay, I do these 2 days. I'm Tony Robbins in 2 weeks. And that wasn't the case either. But it taught me how to present. It taught me how to lead. It taught me how to collaborate. It taught me how to break down the pride enough, because I'm here in speaker school to learn how to speak and present. I can't sit here with pride and tell you, I got it. I don't need to hear it. Well, I just paid you, and I'm spending 2 days from work to learn. You got to drop your pride to learn. And I just remember going in with not ego, but confidence that I'm treating this like a Harvard education. And if I'm not going to go to college, this is definitely cheaper than college. And I think I can do more in maximizing this. I ended up doing 3 speaker schools.
3?
And every time I did a speaker school, opportunities would come from it. A follower would come from it. A podcast would come from it. A speaking opportunity would come from it. A connection that would lead to one of those things would come from it. And then I started scaling, and I started building events with somebody I met in that world. And those events, I met another person. I started building events with them. And then on the side, people were seeing the events, which led to me being able to interview people like yourself and going on office hours and interviewing Grammy Award winning artists. And then led to me being like, okay, let's do a book. And then I left the conference world for a bit, and we wrote a book, and people love it, and it's being received well, which then brings us back to here, where now I'm being able to go back on these shows and talk to things and getting new opportunities. And I think the biggest thing that I've ever done was drop the pride to just learn.
And tell me about the fear that comes along with that, because I think a lot of people have trouble dropping that pride and being vulnerable because they are afraid of being seen. How'd you get over that?
Just force myself to do it. As I mean, it's probably one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever done. I was like, well, if I drop the funny thing is modern day, as I've matured, me and my friend Olivia do talk about it sometimes. It's like people who you see are very prideful. You're like, they have a shield because they're weak. Like when somebody walks around like pride, like I'm this guy, I don't need to know anything. I don't want to learn anything. The people who know it all know none. And the people who are going to walk around touting that they're this, and that are also closing opportunities on themselves because they're afraid that you'll see what you see. And I think I've learned that pride, as me in my experience, actually is trying to protect yourself from yourself, because you're going to have to look yourself in the mirror and realize I'm not that. And that's terrifying. But I've learned that the best thing you can do is drop it and say, I don't know this topic. Teach me what you know and let me know how I can support you, promote you, and help you. And then that is then opened 100,000 doors, like in very impactful, very abundant doors.
How did you break down the ego enough to allow yourself kind of all of these opportunities?
It wasn't overnight. I still work on it. There's times here where internally me and my friends joke about it, but I'm usually very humble. No one likes an arrogant asshole. Who likes if I came in here saying I'm Dylan Smith, I know all these people, I'm this guy, you'd be like, why am I spending my Saturday with Dylan? Like, what the hell? I've learned having humility, being humble, and wanting to listen and learn and collaborate. That's power. Collaboration over competition wins every battle.
Dylan, we're 11 minutes in already here. Tell me about you. Who are you? How'd you get to where you are?
So I know what you're thinking. Wow, I walked in here and Nick was like, wow, you're taller in person.
We're both 2 little guys.
I identify as tall, dark, and handsome. So, but who am I? I am a kid who was adopted twice, misdiagnosed, put on the wrong meds for 10 years. And I had a story to tell, and I had to overcome dyslexia, learn how to read and write again from 16 to 19. And then I was a kid who was just thrown out, worked for free for a year, got connections, got lessons, got humbled, got a job at 20 as a junior engineer at a tech firm, and then just started learning. I think that was cool, is because I work in tech, but I'm also trying to build this personal development brand, and they go hand in hand. Things I learn at work, I can transfer to this world, and things I learn here, I can transfer to that world. Like I I'm so grateful that I've been able to see both worlds, because now when I see a CEO make a move in corporate, it makes sense.
Mhm.
But when I see an employee make a move, that also makes sense. I can see both sides. And would I be far more liquidly rich if I didn't do any of this personal development? Absolutely. Because chasing your dreams and doing these passion projects are expensive,
Yeah.
but I would be a quarter of the man, which is extremely limiting. So I am a guy who cares, and that is the hardest thing that I've ever done. And I always want to help people, and I always want to collaborate with people, but I am a guy who cares about impact. I'm a guy who cares about community. I'm a guy who wants to do something legendary in community-based, in nonprofit-based, in opportunity-based. Like, I'm sitting here on this set right now with you and thinking about my week, like I told you about a crazy week, going, I was a kid who lived in a Russian orphanage. I was a kid who had an alcoholic father. I was a kid who was poor. I was a kid who didn't go to college. And I'm so proud to say that I am more proud of my friends and the communities and the opportunities I've been able to build in the collaboration and who I've become on this journey than I am any of the success, any of the accolades, any of the awards. Like, that's what I'm proud of.
I got to tell you, I'm a tax attorney, but doing this kind of work, it honestly makes my day job better as well. And I think that's true because the underlying is the mindset, right? It's how you think about things and how you receive things. Tell me about how you reframe challenges.
I love challenges. I watched a bunch of Ryan Serhant growing up. From 19 to modern day, I watched every one of his vlogs. I watched $1 Million Listening. I watched his Netflix show. I've always looked up to how he worked. And like recently, I'm like, I don't know if I want to work like that.
He works like mad.
But I've learned that is what I did to build it. And I wanted to work in a way where I could make people that I cared about proud. Like, I want to be somebody that you can proudly say, I'm friends with Dylan Smith and that kid's inspiring. How I reframed it was no other option. Like, when I was 19, I built a running club. I got 20 guys to run every night. We went from couch to 3 miles, and then it ended up doing 8 miles a night. I ended up wearing a 40-pound weighted vest because every guy was way bigger than me, and I was leading the pack. And those runs taught me a lot. I was a wrestler in high school, which teaches a lot of mental, but not like those runs, because I could have just went and run, and I did. And then I built a running club, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to build a running club and then be the guy in the back of the pack. So
fair.
All the guys started complaining and giving excuses like, oh, well, you're 40 pounds lighter than us. We're 6'1", 6'2".
Our legs are so much shorter. I'm turning over a lot quicker.
Every time a challenge came up, I would say opportunity accepted, not challenge accepted. This is an opportunity for me to learn a lesson, evolve, and become a better version of myself right now. So I'm going to handle it at face value. And one thing Ryan Serhant's videos taught me was, if there's something that you are uncomfortable about and don't want to do it first. Do it first. And I remember going, okay, I showed up to the running club one of the days when they're all complaining. And I open up my trunk and they're like, what are you doing? And I throw this weighted vest around my neck and I'm strapping it. They're like, what? I go, now we all weigh the same. Let's see who's in front. And the mental of that was, there's no way. They will have to chop my legs off before I let any of these guys in front of me. And when I was a wrestler, it was like, he will have to rip my limbs off before I let him beat me in this match. And when I was doing the tech stuff for free, I remember saying, they will have to kill me or hit me with a bus if I'm not the guy who wins the opportunity to get paid or get a new job from this. So it's always been I will die for this. And I think that's a big separation on people. It's like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to transform into the version of myself I have to be to build these opportunities, but I'm not here for opportunities. I'm here for the evolution of Dylan, because the evolution of Dylan is going to help evolve his friends. So the mindset is just, how can I become better? And if it's an opportunity to grow, hit me, slap me, punch me, throw me, kick me, hit me with a bus. What am I going to learn?
So how did your identity change from doing all of this work? Are you the same person you were 5 years ago? And how did all of this impact that change?
Am I the same? Yes and no. My values are the exact same. I recently have been reconnecting with my family a lot. So I'm like very family focused. And
your birth family?
No,
yeah.
Adoptive family. And because for the last 5 years, I've been just so work focused that I've been kind of MIA in the family world. And I want to be able to say that I am not even remotely close to the same person, but the same person. So my values are the same. I will always care. I will always want to help people. I always want to pour into people. So that's never going to change. But the version of myself now is really emotionally mature, more mature as an adult, financially mature. I just moved out in December from New York up here down to Florida. So I'm on my own. That made me mature a lot. And I would say I'm an evolved version of myself. So I'm changed with the way I operate, the way I treat people is better. I've never mistreated somebody, but it's more elegant now. And I'm always now people focused, opportunity focused, but I'm always like, how can I maximize every opportunity for everybody involved? And how can I, a rising tide lifts all ships. How can I lift all ships? Because I'm here to build people, not businesses.
That's interesting. So tell me about that. Why do you focus then on the people and giving rather than how can I monetize? Because I feel like that's so much of our culture these days is, well, how can I turn this into money for myself? You're doing the opposite and finding even greater success. Why do you think that is?
Treat somebody the way you want to be treated is what we learn in kindergarten.
This is true.
Which is a crazy concept if you say that to the public and then you see how some adults act.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa. And have you ever heard the term leave something better than you found it?
Yes, absolutely.
So I've converted that to people. And I know that I'm a selfish person in the way that I like helping people and collaborating and creating opportunities for them because I get a rise out of, I'm so happy to help people. And that's my passion. Like that's what fuels me. If I can sit on a podcast, connect with somebody, give them an opportunity, connect you with somebody, and then you guys do something and you're very successful, I'm just extremely grateful that I was able to be a part of it. Like I had a friend, Shane Appel. We grew up together. We were wrestlers together. And he wanted to become a singer and I wanted to become a speaker. And we lived 7 minutes from each other for 5 years. And every day we were growing. He was doing videos. I was doing videos. He was doing singing. I was doing selfie. Singing, selfie. Then I was doing interview. He was doing collaboration. Then I was doing podcasts and he was starting to perform. And I remember promising him I will not miss a show. And he said he wouldn't miss one of my opportunities. So we showed up for each other. And then we took this Home Depot shed and built it into a home studio where we met every night and talked about our dreams and our goals to points where we were on the ground staring at the ceiling of this little shed, crying, going, we want it so bad, but we want it genuinely with our hearts to just impact people. And I can say that journey is so beautiful because I'm so honored that I have friends that I'm proud of. I'm honored that I was on that journey with him where we've both evolved in so many ways, but we're both living our dreams right now. We're both traveling. We're both doing our passion, helping people. He's doing music. I'm speaking, writing books, traveling, and meeting people at a human level. What does a human want? They want a connection. They want genuality. They want to be transparent. They want somebody who you can tell he's genuine. He wants to help me. He wants to learn from me. He wants to pour into me. How can I help you? How can I promote you? How can I support you? And all I ever want is to be able to witness your success. That's it. I never want anything in return. I said, even if you don't invite me to shows, I just want to be able to witness your journey. Like that's all I want. And every time I see him doing something, it makes my day. Every time I see my other friends doing something, it makes my day. When I hear from my friend Olivia, when she's opening new opportunities and evolving as a person, that makes my day. Like that's what fuels me when I'm having a bad day in corporate. I'm like, well, I just had a great week. I did these podcasts. I met my friends. I reconnected with this guy. And, did I make one person smile a day? Great. The day's made. If I impact one person in the speech, it was worth it. If I impact one person with this podcast, it was worth it. If I impact one person with this book, it was worth it.
How do you develop the patience? Because none of this is overnight, right? Like you were saying, I'm going to go to speaker school. 2 weeks later, I'll be Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like that's so much of the perception out there that all of this is just overnight, right?
Yeah.
And one of my favorite quotes is from Ray Kroc, who discovered McDonald's. Really, he just stole it, right? But, it was an overnight success, right? In the 60s, McDonald's absolutely exploded. And reporters would ask him, Ray, this is an overnight success. How'd you do it? And he said, that's funny because the night was 52 years long because he was 52 years old when he got into McDonald's, right? So how do you get people to understand that patience is required for success? Because I feel like in our culture today, everyone wants it now. We're very much a Veruca Salt kind of population. So what do you say to people that just need it now?
The journey's the best part. The journey's the best part. If I could go back to 23 years old, I was at Fashion Week. I had no success. I was at Fashion Week with my best friend Shane, and it was the first time that we had any inkling that we were doing the right things, that these opportunities were coming. And I'll never forget that day because we had events all day, and it was, we're doing it. this stuff's starting to change. But the overnight success is, me and Olivia talked about it. I don't think most people even saw my selfie. To modern day, I don't think people realize that those selfie videos exist. Right?
Yeah.
Like, who scrolls all the way to the bottom?
And they were all you were doing. It was everything.
Doing. My thing with patience is I will chase small wins, and then I'll let those small wins fuel my day to day until another one comes. So if I'm having a bad day at 20 years old and I'm like, if I get one like, I'll come back tomorrow. If I get one view, I'll come back tomorrow. If I get one comment, I'll come back tomorrow. If I get one share, I'll come back tomorrow. In school with dyslexia, if I got 1 point better, if I got one question right, if I got one better test, if I got one problem more understood, I would come back tomorrow. It's a 1 win a day. Look for those wins, let them fuel your day to day. And then tomorrow, use the fuel that you got to fuel today to find that win. And that's patience, but the consistency of, okay, if this takes Meek Mill, I'll send you the video after this. He said, I was hurting for 13 years. It took me 13 years. I was broke. My stomach hurt to get here. And then you're sitting here going, there's days that I'm like banging my head off of a cement wall going, why am I not here? Why am I not making this money? Why am I not on these Aspire tours? Why am I not in arenas? Why do I not own these things? And then you look at it and I'm like, that was a 19-year-old kid. This is a 25-year-old man. Same person, but there was just 6 years where he's still just developing. Like I'm probably still, my frontal lobe's still not even fully developed. My brain's not fully developed. And I'm like, I want to be here, but I only have this much of experience. So if he's going to do it for 13 years, and like you said, that 53-year-old overnight success, 1 win a day.
1 win a day. Final question we ask all our guests. What does the word resiliency mean to you?
Resiliency means to me is show up no matter what. You're happy, you're tired, you're energetic, you're rich, you're broke. Show up no matter what in every situation. For people that you care about, for yourself, and for I will die for this. I think a lot of people ask me, how did you get this? How did you get this? How are you scaling so fast? And I'm like, are you willing to die for it?
Wow.
Are you willing to die for it? And I can genuinely say I really am. I'm willing to die for it. I'm willing to miss a flight for it. I'm willing to go broke for it. I'm willing to sacrifice family events for it. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to continue to help people, because I was talking to my friend and he was like, okay, if you didn't do any of this, would you be happy? Because you'd have a lot more money and you'd be able to do whatever you want, sleep in on the weekends, fly to Ibiza, whatever you want to do. And I'm like, I'd probably be one of the most miserable people you've ever met. And that costs more than whatever I spent on this journey.
Misery has a price.
That is regret.
So, and I mean, all of it, right? It all has a cost. Dylan, you've written a book. Tell us about the book and where can people find you?
Yes. The book is The Words Are Backwards, You're Not, Dyslexia is Your Superpower. And there's 2 reasons that's the title. First reason is it's something that I needed to know when I was younger. And I remember realizing it when I was in the journey of overcoming dyslexia, learning my ABCs. And I came back the next summer at 17 years old and I got my first 70 on a test. And I was like, okay. And then I got my first 70 as an overall grade. My GPA started to come up. It was nothing spectacular or sexy, but we were passing. And I was like, okay, great. And then I graduated and I started this whole personal development, entrepreneurial, corporate journey. And I'm learning as I'm evolving. The words on the paper were backwards. I wasn't. And I got an opportunity to go speak at my home school. And that was a keynote I gave. And that keynote ended in the whole room on their feet, everybody crying in the room, including me on stage. And that's when I was like, yeah, the words on the paper are backwards. You're not. And it has been such a beautiful journey that we're here. But what the best part about the book is I've gotten a lot of feedback, because inside you can, at the end of each chapter, you have to answer questions that I'd ask myself in that chapter of life. You write it in. So it's an experience to read it because you feel like you're a part of writing it. And you are asking yourself, okay, if I have this disability or I have this that I think is hindering me, is it really? Is it really?
Are your blockers really blockers, or are they all just in your head? Dylan, I love it. Where can people find you?
You can find me at dsfordyslexia.com, Dylan Smith Dyslexia on Google. The Words Are Backwards, You're Not is on Amazon. And you can email me at dylan@dsfordyslexia.com.
Dylan, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
This has been the Resiliency Project podcast. Guys, the message is keep going. And until next time, we'll see you later.